the hidden power each type holds and how to awaken it before it's too late. You've probably felt it your whole life, this strange tension between chaos and clarity, between being feared and being needed, between isolation and a deep burning sense of divine purpose. That's not confusion. That's the signature of a dark chosen one. And I'm not talking about evil or darkness in the Hollywood sense. I'm talking about the souls who were chosen not to live in the light, but to transmute the dark. The ones who were born not to avoid pain, but to dive into it, dissect it, decode it, and alchemize it into power. This is not a spiritual fairy tale. This is spiritual warfare. And if you're watching this, I'm going to say something bold. You are one of them. Not everyone is. Most people are light workers, star seeds, wanderers, but we are the darker edge of divine law, the ones who are deployed into difficult bloodlines, toxic environments, and impossible missions because we could handle what others could not. But the mistake most dark chosen ones make is thinking that their pain was a punishment, when in truth, it was preparation. There are 7 archetypes of the dark chosen one. Each one carries a distinct frequency and a specific mission. You may resonate with more than one, but one will stand out like a mirror to your soul. The first is the shadow mirror, those who reflect back people's unconscious truth simply by existing. These are the ones who walk into a room and instantly make others uncomfortable, not because they're aggressive, but because they expose everything fake without saying a word. Their mission? To disrupt illusion through presence alone. But it's lonely, because people project onto them. They get blamed, ghosted, feared. Have you ever wondered why people either worship you or avoid you? That's the shadow mirror energy. It's not easy, but it's sacred. The second archetype is the Gatekeeper of Pain. These are the ones who were born into suffering not because they were cursed, but because they were meant to map the underworld. They carry trauma not just for themselves, but for their lineage, their community, and sometimes entire collectives. Their mission is to transform pain into passageways. When they heal, it doesn't just uplift their life, it breaks generational chains. But the price of this power is deep. They often feel like they're drowning in a sea of wombs they didn't create. Then there's the Frequency Disruptor. This one is wild, unpredictable, often misunderstood. They don't follow rules, they rewrite them. They're the ones who glitch systems, whether it's school, religion, politics, or spirituality itself. Their energy is so raw, so unfiltered, that it literally rewires the environments they enter. They've probably been labeled too much, too intense, or too unstable. But in truth, they are the cosmic hackers, the ones who break down outdated patterns to make room for what's next. Their mission is to collapse false timelines. And then we have the silent architect, the one who never looks like a threat, but is quietly holding entire energetic frameworks together. They're the healers who don't advertise, the mystics who don't speak, the ones who radiate stabilizing codes that keep others from completely unraveling. Their power is subtle, but immense. Their mission is to anchor higher blueprints in unstable realms. But because they are so energetically attuned, they often suffer from burnout and isolation. They feel invisible, even though their essence is holding the grid up. And I want to ask you something now, something that might hit hard. Have you mistaken your invisibility as weakness, when in truth, it was your soul's stealth mode all along? The fifth type is the code breaker, the one who sees patterns, cycles, and secrets in everything. They don't just absorb knowledge, they decode it. They often come from strict belief systems or religions, and their mission is to break open the locked doors of dogma. They challenge everything. They ask the questions no one dares ask. And because of that, they're often exiled, shunned, or attacked. But their mind is a divine weapon. They are the ones who were born to restore sacred wisdom by dismantling corrupted truths. The sixth type is the Emotional Transmuter. These are the empaths on steroids. They don't just feel, they metabolize energy. Walk into a room full of sadness and they'll feel it in their body. Their mission is to purify collective emotion. They often suffer from anxiety, fatigue, and identity loss because they are constantly processing energies that aren't theirs. But once they learn to ground and shield, they become emotional alchemists. They don't just help people feel, they teach them how to feel without drowning. And then there's the final type, the soul forger. These are the rarest. The ones who go through death after death, ego death, identity death, karmic death until there's nothing left but pure soul essence. Their mission is to forge unbreakable souls. They were never meant to live a soft life. They were meant to become indestructible. But the cost is high. Everything they love gets tested. Everything they build gets burned. And yet they rise over and over, because their soul was designed to walk through fire and come out as gold. These are the 7 types. And now that you've heard them, I want you to pause. Not just to identify which one you are, but to ask yourself this: what pain in your life have you misinterpreted as personal failure when it was actually your divine training ground? This is where your mission begins. Not when life gets easier, but when you realize that your entire journey, every scar, every fall, every heartbreak was coded with purpose. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to transmute frequencies through your existence. You are not broken. You are encoded. And once you unlock the truth of your archetype, you stop trying to be normal and start becoming unstoppable. How to awaken it before it's too late. Now comes the most important part of the entire journey: how to fulfill your mission without letting it consume you. Because here's the truth: they don't teach in most spiritual circles. The dark chosen ones walk the thinnest edge of all. We carry frequencies that can either heal or destroy, awaken or collapse, liberate or isolate. And if we're not conscious, our own power turns inward. We burn ourselves instead of burning illusions. We destroy our lives instead of dismantling false systems. Why? Because no one taught us how to hold the weight of our mission. No one warned us that the deeper your purpose, the heavier your shadows. But this is where the mastery begins. You must learn to ground your power. You must learn to regulate your nervous system while processing multi-dimensional downloads. You must learn to hold paradox, to be both fierce and tender, both destroyer and healer, both human and divine. This is not about balance. It's about integration. All parts of you must sit at the table now, even the ones you feared. You cannot fulfill your mission while rejecting your own design. The shadow mirror must stop dimming their truth to avoid rejection. The gatekeeper of pain must stop bypassing their grief just to appear strong. The frequency disruptor must stop apologizing for being the storm. The silent architect must stop shrinking in the name of humility. The codebreaker must stop doubting their madness, its sacred intelligence. The emotional transmuter must stop drowning in feelings that don't belong to them. And the soul forger must stop clinging to anything that no longer serves their evolution. Every type must own their edge. This is the only way to survive the mission. Because the mission is not to become light, it's to become whole. The darkness is not your enemy. It's your initiation. And when you stop fighting it, you unlock a level of spiritual authority that no book, no guru, no system can give you. You become self-anointed. You become undeniable. You become unshakable. And the world feels it. You don't need to prove yourself. You just need to become yourself fully. But this path is not meant to be walked alone. That's another trap of the dark archetypes. We isolate, we hide. We convince ourselves no one can understand. And yet, here we are, gathering, finding each other across timelines, screens, dimensions. Why do you think you're here right now, watching this? It's not an accident. It's a summoning, a signal, a reminder that we are not random anomalies. We are a network of soul disruptors. And as each one of us activates, it sends a ripple across the field. One shadow mirror awakening gives permission to 1,000 others to stop performing. One emotional transmuter healing themselves clears emotions for entire bloodlines. One soul forger embracing their deaths becomes a lighthouse for others navigating their own. You are not just awakening for you. You're awakening for the collective. And every time you say yes to your archetype, you destabilize the illusion that has kept humanity asleep. This is how the dark ones rise, not through force, but through frequency alignment. So I'm going to ask you the final question, the one that splits timelines. What are you still pretending not to be in order to make the world feel safe around you? That's the part you must reclaim. That's the power that was buried under shame, fear, and programming. That's the mission waiting to be fulfilled. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not unsafe. You are encoded. You are entrusted. And now you are remembering. The age of false light is ending. The age of authentic integration is here. And the world doesn't need more followers. It needs initiated architects of the new world. That's what you are. That's what we are. And if you've made it this far, it means your soul is ready. The mission doesn't start tomorrow. It doesn't start when you're healed. It starts now, in this breath, in this choice, in this remembering. The dark chosen ones are rising, and nothing will ever be the same again.